here and now. And in that awareness, let us pray. Father, Mother God, we give thanks. We give thanks in all situations, in all relationships. We give thanks. For those that challenge us, for those that embrace us, for those that question us, for those that affirm us, we give thanks. For the tasks that are easy, for the tasks that are hard, for the tasks that are boring, those that are fun, we give thanks. In each moment, we raise our hearts in gratitude, praising all of creation. Here and now, then and there, we give thanks. And for those in our experience who seem to have a need for the awareness of your love, for the opportunity to give gratitude, for those that are challenged, for those that are cruising along, we hold them in consciousness, we see them blessed, we see them lifted, and we see their hearts open to the awareness of your presence. And for this, we give thanks. And so it is that together we say, Amen. Cheers.
Dave, do you want to check your microphone?
Does that orange thing on my microphone mean anything?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Can you hear me now? That cell phone commercial, whoever it was.
You have to drop the microphone now.
I have to drop the microphone
Yeah, that's part of the commercial.
like that? All right. Now that I've got that all straight. So, creation is calling. Are you going to answer? Last week, we talked about passion. And you may recall I left you with, upside down. I left you with this. 7 questions. Are you living your passion? Won't go over those now, but I want to remind you that this series on the one great commandment, love God with all your heart and love your neighbor as yourself. This series is about our coming into our fullness of expression, our fullness of experience, our fullness of expressing who we are in our uniqueness. So we talked about passion, and today I'd like to talk about the individuality that we each are. We have, in our experience, we have, of course, our genetic makeup. Our genetic makeup determines that we are, first of all, human. In those 3 billion base pairs in our DNA, we have about 20,000 genes that are expressed or not expressed. And the expression of those genes and what proteins arise from those genes and the expression of those genes determine our physicality. And we also have in that DNA sequence, we have what has been regarded as a bunch of junk. I mean, if you consider 20,000 genes in 3 billion base pairs, you're talking about one gene for about every 150,000 base pairs. So there's a lot of material there just waiting to be expressed in various and unique ways. And the thing is that we all are each unique. We are unique not just in our physicality, but we're unique in our consciousness. And our consciousness is arising from our practices and our experiences from the things we've been taught, from the base of knowledge about what is reality, as well as those things that are of value to us. And so our values and all of that stuff that we've been exposed to throughout our life, from the DNA all the way through the teachings of values, and particularly the experiences that we have, that all comprises our uniqueness. Now, for those of you that have been around New Thought for a while, you know that there are fundamentalist New Thought teachers who say that the thoughts held in mind determine your experience. And so I could call those New Thought students determinists. And then there are those teachers, such as myself, that see that it is not so much that we determine what our experiences is, but what our experiences are, but that we respond to our experiences based upon our thoughts. And for lack of a better word, I'll call those respondents. So we have determinists and we have respondents in New Thought teachings. And as I said, I am a respondent. I teach that it's not so much what experiences are thrown before us, but rather how we respond to those. And the way that we respond to those is going to be unique, just because our DNA, our values, our experiences have all brought us to this point in time where our consciousness is responding to the experiences that are put before us. And that is a wonderful thing, that we have the opportunity, regardless of the circumstances, we have the opportunity to respond in unique ways, to respond in the ways that in some cases we celebrate and in other cases we grieve. And the circumstances in which we are responding to our experience will be a determinant in, will be, how do I say it? The circumstances that are presented to us will determine what the universe, what creation is saying to us in a way that we are asked to respond. We are asked to consider the circumstances that are presented to us and respond in a way that is constructive, a way that is uplifting, a way that helps this web of life rise up to a higher level of consciousness. That's really what our charge is. We have, I'll share with you a story. It's kind of relevant. No, it's very relevant. I woke up yesterday morning to hear the sound of my granddaughter's footsteps coming up the stairs. My daughter, her husband, and 3 kids live downstairs. Well, they live all over the house except in, well, no, they live in our room as well. But so we have a 2,000 square foot house. We have 7 people in it. And I can tell you that gets fairly close from time to time. But nonetheless, so I woke up with this idea that Mackenzie's feet are musical. And the reason they're musical is because when I hear them, my heart sings. So I went out to the kitchen there. Mackenzie was. She had climbed up into her chair next to the table, and Shannon was cooking breakfast. And I shared with Shannon. I said, you know, I'm convinced that Mackenzie's feet are musical. And I looked at Mackenzie, and she looked at me, and I said, because when I hear her footsteps, my heart sings. And there was that connection You know that connection that sometimes occurs where there just seems to be a melting of souls? And she reached out her hand, and I took her hand, and she said, "Grandpa, I love you." And it was one of those experiences of, oh my God. That's what life is about, right? That experience of love, that connection with another individual. Yes, she's not quite 3, and yes, I'm on the other edge of 72, but there was that connection that was just independent of time, right? It's independent of age. It was a connection that we each can have if we pay attention, if we look for it, if we open ourselves to the vulnerability of that experience of unconditional love shared between 2 or more people. So our opportunity in this world, presented with all of these experiences, all of these relationships, where creation is calling us to be responsive to the power of love, to be responsive to the opportunities that are presented to us, where there is no fear, where there is no defensiveness, where there is just a clean connection that convinces us that the boundaries that we put up between ourselves and everything else is only a boundary constructed by ourselves. It's not a boundary that we need to pay attention to. It's not a boundary that is written in stone, but rather it is a boundary that is just an ephemeral gauze that separates us. And for our opportunities, for the opportunities that are presented to us, if we are able to let go of any fear that we have, let go of any separation that we think there is, and allow ourselves to just be connected, one-on-one or one-on-many, whatever it happens to be. If we are willing to allow that to happen, creation will respond. It will respond in a way that it can be described, but only inadequately. Let me share with you a video that I ran across several weeks ago, attempted to show a couple of weeks ago. And we have a new computer system in, so we're going to see if this thing works. If you would, please. We're making progress. I see it.
Now, some of the things that's going to happen when you look out and see what can I contribute to, what can I give, I guarantee you, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to have a voice that's saying, it's just no use. It's out of control now. There will be a voice telling you that you'll be wasting your time and wasting your energy and wasting your effort. I say don't listen to it. Listen to that still small voice that says, I can do something, and I ought to do it. We ought to do it. Israeli said this, nothing can resist the will of the people that will stake even their existence on the extent of their purpose for good. I strongly believe that all of us have some work to do, that each one of us showed up to do something, that each one of us showed up to contribute something to life, and that if we don't do it, it will not be done. Be it that you want to help and contribute to youth or do something for the homeless, whatever you want to do, if you get up in the morning out of a sense of office and decide that I am an opening for the universe, But life can work through and use me as a channel and as an instrument for change.
How will you serve the world? What do they need that your talent can provide? That's all you have to figure out. I can tell you from experience, the effect you have on others is the most valuable currency there is. You are ready and able to do beautiful things in this world. And after you walk through those doors today, you will only ever have two choices, love or fear. Choose love, and don't ever let fear turn you against your grateful heart.
Begin to see yourself as an opening for the universe, to move through, to work through, to make a difference in life. See yourself being used by life to improve the quality of life, to expand and to grow.
So, what was your response to that video?
Wow. Inspiration.
How is it affecting you in terms of what you see your role to be?
I am that change.
You are that change.
Well, I think it connects to, for me, connects to what we tried to work on last week about our passions and what really are those priorities for us. For me.
Okay?
Very passionate video.
Rose?
For me, it brings out that showing up, first of all, and bringing your talent, whatever that God-given thing is that you do well.
Okay.
Ditto.
Ginger?
Even what we might say is a small thing is a big thing. Nothing is too small when you're reaching out to give love to another person.
Brooke?
I say we have a choice of polarities that we want to choose to walk in spiritually. That either we can walk in fear and competition, or we can walk in cooperation and compassion. And the results are different depending on which one we choose to embrace, which one we choose to attract ourselves to. We always have the ability to do good, but we don't always choose to do it, even though we may know it's the right thing to do, based on whatever fear or experiences we might have had or not had, can determine those choices. And it could be even based on how we have the habits in our life.
We have those fears and we have those experiences of love, and the response that we make, the choice that we make, is really the determinant.
Pay more attention to noticing the opportunities to have a positive influence.
Okay?
There's a movie I screened 2 times back when I was screening them. Interestingly, had the lowest attendance. That's why I tried it a second time. But it was one of my favorites. And it was called One Piece at a Time. Now, in the title of the movie, they spelled it P-E-A-C-E. But the entire subject was how do you eat an elephant? One piece at a time. And that's basically what they were saying there. It's all too much when you look at everything. And I know that film was about a man who traveled the world, showing the differences people had made by choosing one issue, one problem that really spoke to them. The one that stuck in my mind the most was a little boy who heard that people didn't have clean water, and he started raising money. And I don't know how many wells he got dug in third world countries. But there were very many different examples, you know, that made a huge difference, but it was just picking that one piece to start working on.
Yeah, so my reflection is sometimes I'm aware of the absolute crushing need, the massive crushing need that I walk through every day. And I see it every day. And I know that I can't do all of it. And sometimes that cripples me to not do what I can do. And those small steps that I can do, and I know I can do them. When I pull myself away from this, you know, I don't have to be, you know, I'm an expression of the divine. But I'm not all of it, you know, so are you. So as we all do what we can do, I feel that relief of, well, I didn't do and fix everything, but I fixed something. I made somebody smile. I made somebody feel good for a moment. Maybe it's the best moment they had all day, I don't know. But I can do that.
And you never know.
No.
You never know what that vibration that you're putting into this web of life is going to do. But putting that vibration of love into that web of life can have extraordinary effects on somebody.
And never see it.
Chris?
An example that's going on right now is the teenage girl in Scandinavia who has been skipping school on Fridays, standing outside her school holding a sign protesting climate change, saying, "I am the endangered species." And she started this months ago. Other students joined her. It went viral. Last Friday, millions of students in millions of cities and towns and places around the world stayed out of school and gathered to protest climate change, to get the attention of our world leaders. They're talking of giving this young woman the Nobel Peace Prize for doing that one simple thing.
How many times are you confronted with opportunities to do one simple thing? What about taking a $5 bill, converting it to $1 bills, putting those $1 bills in your ashtray, in your console, and just giving those away? Not expecting anything in return, just here. Here. Whether it's someone standing on the street, or it's someone that's walking down the aisle in the grocery store, or it's someone that you pass on, you know, on the sidewalk, walking along, briefcase in hand, you know, overcoat, well-dressed, give a buck. What would that do? What effect could that have? It may cost you $5 for a couple of days worth of great joy in giving those random dollar bills away. But in the end, that is our purpose, is to spread unconditional love. That's what creation is calling us to do. The question continues to be, in this moment, in this day, in this month, in this year, in this place, with this community of whomever is around, what am I to do to bring life and love to this wonderful web of life? What can I do? We'll carry that question into our meditation, because in the end, it is a choice that we make. Whether we make a choice responding to fear or we make a choice responding to love, it is our choice. How do I lift those around me. We'll have our meditation. So come into our meditation. In this sacred moment, in this particular time, in this particular place, wherever we may be. When God said to Moses, take off the sandals from your feet because you are standing on holy ground. Each time, each moment in each community, that is holy ground because it is the present, the now. It is the time that we have to respond to that which is confronting us. We're standing on holy ground right now. Consider your individuality. Consider your uniqueness. Consider those things that are particular to you. And how can you respond in your individuality to the call that creation is making? What is it in your presence here in this moment? What do you bring to this moment? What is unique to you? What talents do you have? What characteristics do you have that will allow someone in your presence to be lifted? You are a unique expression of God. You have been given through your experience, through the values that you've been taught, through your genetics. You've been given a unique opportunity to be the voice of the divine, to be the hands and feet of the divine in this moment. What can you bring to this moment that will lift, that will transform, that will move forward in the expression of the divine in each and every one of those in your presence? How can you contribute to their lives in a meaningful, loving, compassionate way? Let that be a question that resides just underneath your day-to-day awareness. And pull it up from time to time. What can I be here in this moment? How can I express here in this moment? Who can I affect here in this moment to lift, to transform, to brighten the day for that person? How can I be the expression of the divine that I am called to be? Yes, there's a lot to be done. Yes, there are many people that are in pain. Yes, there's transformation that is required in so many different places and faces. But how can I, in my individuality, be the change for that person at this time? We can let fear consume us, or we can let love lead us. As we move into our next moment in this day, move into our next day in this week, and this week into the month, and this month into the year, as we move forward in time, as we step forth into our next sacred moment. Let us commit ourselves to be that expression of the divine in this moment. And for this, we give thanks. And as we come back into this time and space, let us come back sharing the words of the Lord's Prayer.